This program is sponsored by Auckland City Council. 185. The number of ethnic groups in Auckland City. 38. The percentage of Auckland residents who were not born in New Zealand.
Joining us in the second half of Darpan-The Mirror, we join George Galloways Parliamentary Secretary Yasmin Ataullah for a brief conversation. Let's cross over now.
Traditionally, Muslim women are often perceived as subjugated and not equal. How have you managed to rise to the position where you are now, assisting one of the most important political figures in the world?
Well, to be honest with you, it's all by the grace of God that I find myself in this position. I met George working on Palestinian and anti-war campaigns a few years ago because I worked with Muslim organisations in the UK as a press officer, so worked at various demonstrations and conferences, and I've always been interested in politics and kept an eye on current affairs, and as I say, very much fell into the position that I'm in, and it's a real blessing to be able to work with such a special man who fights for justice and truth so passionately.
You are originally from India but born and bred in Britain.
Yeah.
How do you compare the status of Muslim women in Britain with those of other countries?
Well, my experience obviously is mainly in Britain, so I feel more comfortable or confident speaking about the status of women in that particular country, but I feel that there doesn't seem to be any problems. We're certainly not second-class citizens or oppressed or repressed and stuck at home. There are Muslim women in all professional fields out there working in all walks of life, and I can name two women that I've had close contact with who are elected as respect councillors, both Salma Yaqub and Rania Khan. Rania being the youngest ever elected councillor in the country, and they're both fantastic role models for Muslim women everywhere.
Have you encountered racism?
I have, but alhamdulillah, not that much in my life. The first time was when I was quite young, 8 or 9 years old, and a very young child in an infant playground called me a Paki as I walked past them. It certainly took me aback, but it wasn't something that scarred me for the rest of my life. When I was a bit older at secondary school, some boys shouted Paki at me as I walked down the street. I found it offensive, but didn't quite know how to handle it. More recently, I was walking home from work a few months ago, and there were some young children on my street, and as I walked past them I could hear the conversation, and they were referring to some boy, that stupid Paki, and I just stopped dead in my tracks and turned around, and I can't believe I said it because I could have had someone throw something at me, but I said, do you know how offensive and rude that remark is? You want to grow up and learn some respect, and walked away. So
good on you.
I have done. But
you've become involved with Respect and working with George. What was the motivating factor for you embarking on this journey?
Well, to be honest, as I said, I met George through the Palestinian cause and through the anti-war movement, and it's very much a fight for truth and justice, standing up for justice. And I actually studied the Palestinian conflict as a history student when I was at university, and that's where my passion for Palestine came from, because I really truly believe that if you look at the history of the conflict objectively as a historian, that you cannot be anything but pro-Palestinian. And the Palestinian issue is one of the greatest injustices of our time. And because of that, alhamdulillah, I've had the opportunity to work with George, who, as I've said, fights extremely passionately for justice and has spent many decades working extremely hard for the Palestinian cause. So that's why I'm here today, working for George, alhamdulillah.
And do you believe women are equal to men under Islam?
Oh, absolutely. And if there's any equality, from my understanding of Islam, if there was inferiority, it would be the men who are below women, because for a start, Jannat, heaven, is beneath the feet of your mother, not your father. And secondly, the Prophet, peace be upon him, from his life experience and the way that he conducted himself, and also from the teachings of the Quran, the way a man is supposed to look after, love and respect his wife, you don't even get that in Western society. So far from being unequal, I'd say women have got the top spot in Islam.
And what's your advice for young women today?
Young women today, young Muslim women, you mean?
In particular.
I would say be strong and confident and happy and proud of who you are. Islam is about peace. Islam is about understanding that we are all part of humanity. We're all brothers and sisters in humanity. It doesn't matter what your nationality is or what the colour of your skin is. We should all be working together for the greater good, and that's the same as being a good human being to me. So just go for it, and inshallah.
Darpan-The Mirror on satellite, cable and terrestrial network. This program was sponsored by Auckland City Council. 9,461. The number of businesses in the Central Business District. 78,480. The number of people who work in those businesses.
Parting is such sweet sorrow, and with those words, this comes the end of today's show. It's been fantastic being here with you. Now, as per usual, I'd love to hear what all of you guys have to say, the good, the bad and the ugly. Hopefully it's not too ugly. Email me at info@teamworkproductions.co.nz with all your suggestions. And if you've missed anything or want to catch anything on the web, log into our website, www.teamworkproductions.co.nz. Now, the quote of this week comes from a very famous sportsman, Lance Armstrong, and it goes like this: "Pain is temporary, quitting is forever." Food for thought. And until next week, my friends, I am Javed Khan. This was Darpan-The Mirror. New Zealand, be safe, be well, to the stars and beyond. Pomarie.